Hello everyone, welcome to the October 26th, 2014 edition of the Astrology News Report. I'm your intrepid host, Ron Berger. So let's take a look at the upcoming planetary patterns and predictions. What's in store in the heavens for October 26th to November 2nd and beyond. Okay, so the big event that is coming up at the end of this week is that Saturn will be changing signs on November 2nd. Saturn is the outermost of the visible planets. Being so far away from the Sun, Saturn pokes along in the Zodiac, taking from 2 to 3 years to get through a sign. After nearly 3 years transiting through Libra, Saturn is finally gonna move this week. So this is a big deal and has some major implications for world events as well as for our personal lives. Every planet and every sign has its own intrinsic qualities. A planet has to express its energy through the agency of the sign it is placed in. So what happens when Saturn's qualities have to combine with Scorpio? Saturn is the planet of responsibility, of burdens. I call Saturn the reality check planet. It's the planet of structure, of form, and therefore limitation and restriction. Saturn is discipline. Saturn is work. It is also the planet of time, old age, and maturity. Saturn slows things down. Saturn causes delay. At its most negative, Saturn is the planet of suffering, chronic illness, and death. Saturn is considered a tamasic planet, a planet that represents the lower realms. Wherever Saturn transits in a natal chart, there will be responsibilities that have to be dealt with, which could become burdensome. Where Saturn transits, there will be limitations, restrictions of some sort. Saturn's transit slows things down with respect to the sector of life it affects in your natal chart. Now for Scorpio. This sign also has something of a bad reputation due to some of its less desirable characteristics. Scorpio is a sign of deep feeling, a passionate sign. This sign has a talent for secrets, both harboring secrets and finding out other people's secrets. Scorpio is the psychologist of the Zodiac. Scorpio also has an attraction to power. Scorpio likes to acquire power. Another quality of Scorpio is for forming alliances, especially alliances that bring more power. The problem is, will Scorpio use its talents and power for good or for ill? Another trait Scorpio is known for is metamorphosis. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. So what happens when we combine Saturn with Scorpio? Here are a few of the possibilities. The planet of control, in the sign of psychology, can give us a very charismatic, manipulative, ends justifies the means type of person. The kind of energy that gets things done, and is familiar to dictators, totalitarian regimes, and control freaks of all types. Can we come up with an example? Let's see. Oh yes, Narendra Modi, who just this year became the Prime Minister of India. We'll see how he fares with Saturn transiting in his ascendant. He's got a Scorpio moon too, and Saturn in his natal chart is nothing to sniff at either. The planet of structure in the sign of transformation suggests major changes coming to some of our familiar reality structures. Both Saturn and Scorpio are known for making prolonged, determined efforts. This energy will be available for everyone, for whatever purpose. For some real live examples of what has happened when Saturn transited through Scorpio, we can dial back 28 years ago to 1985, 86, in 1987, the last time that Saturn was transiting through Scorpio. Back then, hijacking airliners was all the rage with the international terrorist set, trying to call attention to their cause. There were several of those incidents. Scorpio represents the underworld, criminals, and terrorists, and Saturn is uncompromising. Saturn as the sign of metamorphosis and power, that could translate to nuclear power, changing the atom. Saturn is the reality check planet. In 1986, the Soviet Union's Chernobyl power plant had an accident, and the world went into nuclear freakout mode. But remember, Scorpio is also the sign of alliances, and Saturn is the practical, realistic planet. The last time Saturn was in Scorpio was when President Ronald Reagan and President Mikhail Gorbachev came together and fell in love. And the rest, as they say, was history, which transformed world politics big time. Okay, so next week I'll go through the Zodiac and analyze what Saturn will do for each rising sign. Thanks for visiting astrologynewsreport.com. I'll be posting updates during the week on Twitter at Astro News Report.